And, you know.
All right, let's see here. All right, so I am not currently keto, I should say, but I did do keto for about 6 months last year from June to October, I believe. And so although I'm not doing it now, I thought I would do my tracking, show you how I tracked when I was on keto, because I know many of you are using the ketogenic intervention right now to reverse your disease. And so I was experimenting with keto. My goals at the current time were 130 grams protein, 130 grams fat, and then 30 grams or less of carbs. So that equal to about 1,800 calories. Now I will say this was a few months in. I started at very low calorie, just because I really didn't know. I was feeling very stuffed. So when you all tell me you're stuffed, I totally get it. So if we look at, so this was kind of my breakfast. So I usually eat the same thing, more or less, maybe a few things change in and out, but I usually eat the same breakfast. So I always plug that in right in the morning or the night before. So for breakfast, I had an ounce and a half of avocado with my 3 large eggs, goat cheese, and some mushrooms. Really pushing the vegetables despite being on keto. A lot of people think that like vegetables will like kick you out of ketosis. It's not true. You can definitely stay in your limits. And then I always, to get my fat in, I had to add cream to my coffee, which normally I like it black. So that was disappointing. Made me drink more coffee actually. So that's kind of where I was at. You can see here my breakfast was about 523 calories. And then I went to lunch. I always have a salad for lunch. I'm a creature of habit. So I had a spinach salad, 2 ounces, tomatoes, cucumbers, more avocado, cherry tomatoes, and then olive oil. Usually that would go between 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. But that day I'd only done 1 tablespoon. And then I also added in some strawberries. Strawberries are not too much in calories or carbs. So I always added a little bit. That was like my sweet for the day. And then I did ground turkey and then riced cauliflower. If you haven't tried riced cauliflower, I would highly recommend it. Pairs really well with any meats. And this I'm also pretty consistent in. I almost always have my protein, my salad, and then something to go with my protein. And then dinner was really boring. But the air fryer is great. I made crispy air fryer pork chops. This was a recipe that I inputted into MyFitnessPal, so I always use MyFitnessPal. And I covered the pork chop in like Parmesan cheese to crust it, and I think some almond flour maybe. Threw it in the air fryer, and it was phenomenal. I think it's like the first time I ever liked pork chops was doing it this way. And so then by 6 p.m., I look at my tracker, and I'm really far off from all my goals. So you can see here the different calories from each lunch and my overall grams over here. So I had 27 grams of carbs, so that was good for my limit, although that's not subtracting the fiber. My fat was only at 80 and my protein was only at 80. So I had pretty far to go, which is why I always save my protein shake for the end of the day. So at the end of the day, I'll either make a shake or a smoothie to help me hit the remaining of my goals. And so this was my remaining snacks, which was like 700 calories because I did not prepare for my day well. Now I will say the yogurt I usually would eat earlier in the day because again that's just like a little sweet for me. But yeah, so I had my protein powder, a cup of almond milk, I put 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and then chia seeds, which are really high in fat. They appear to be high in carbs, but it's actually just really high in fiber. So I think they're about 12 grams of carbs and 10 grams of fiber. So you can, X out that fiber and it's only two net carbs. So then by the end of the day, I was able to hit all of my goals. So again, my protein goal was 130. I hit 134. My carbs were at 30, but my fiber for this day, which I guess I didn't put in this picture, the fiber for that day was like 30 grams, I think. Pretty high because of the chia seeds. And then here's the daily totals, and here's my calories. Total calories ended up being 1850. So for me, the most foundation, like I always ate the same breakfast, had similar lunches, and then played around with my dinner a bit. And then I always just adjust my protein shake or my smoothie based on what I need. So if I was, I had 100 grams of fat instead of 80 grams of fat, then I would have probably done 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. So I made little adjustments like that based on what I needed for the day. And that was my last meal for the day, which helped me meet my goals.
Yeah. I have a question. What is ratio yogurt? Is it a brand? I've never heard that term.
Yeah, that's a brand of yogurt. I thought I'd sent it to you all. Maybe I haven't. Oh, there. Yep. So it's keto ratio yogurt, and it's 15 grams fat, 15 grams protein, right, Andrew?
Yeah, so they have both a keto and a high protein version. The keto version is 15 grams of fat, 15 grams of protein. The protein version is 25 grams of fat, 25 grams of protein, and it's like lower fat. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So where do you find it?
Oh, I get it anywhere. I reliably get it at Kroger. I think you can get it. I think I've had people tell me they found it at Food City, but definitely you can get it at Kroger.
Okay.
I have not found it at Food City yet. What I get is the Too Good yogurt, which I just ate, but it's only got 12 grams of protein and 2 grams of fat. So I'm gonna have to get some of that keto yogurt.
Yeah, so I started with Too Good. The reason why I've tried every yogurt known to man, because when my wife and I got married and moved into our place, we didn't have a kitchen. So we ate yogurt. That was what we did. We ate hard-boiled eggs, free hard-boiled eggs from the store, and yogurt. And I started with Too Good, and it's good. And I like that it's high protein, and it's got not a lot of high fat or carbs, so it's pretty easy. Like if you're under protein, just add a Too Good to it. But then the ratio, gives you 25 grams of protein. It doesn't taste as good, that protein version. But anyway, so I like them all, and they're all pretty good quality. But I've,
I forgot to mention that the Too Good only has 3 net grams of carbs, because most the yogurts have way more carbs.
Yeah, you're right.
I used I also used Carb Master from Kroger when I was doing it, and that had low carbs and high fat, which was good.
Any other questions before I share my process? Anything y'all got for Lindsay?
Now we're switching all the way the opposite direction.
Yeah, I don't have the design on it.
Let's go.
Okay, yeah, so I'll take over here for a second. Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. I got some thumbs up and some heads bobbing, so that it sounds like y'all can hear me. Okay, so this is gonna look really like kind of bizarre, I think, to a lot of y'all, because this is a lot of food. And these are numbers that, by my lunch, I'll probably be at most of y'all's like full day. That just put it in context of, I'm a lot younger, I'm regularly active, and I'm doing strength training. Like, I wouldn't probably recommend everybody eats a bagel, but you might see a bagel and, you might be able to spare a bagel. You might not. But this is just shows the highly individualized nature of the journey we're all on. But I know most people struggle to hit their protein. Well, I mean, I understand that struggle. It can be challenging for me to hit 200 grams of protein. And then I also really like fat. If left to my own devices, I could easily get 200 grams of fat in a day, which is crazy, but I like fat. And it's actually, my struggle is actually getting carbs and being consistent with my carbs. Now, again, depending on where you are, you probably can't handle 230 grams of carbs, or you're working your way up to a higher carb load. But anyways, this is enough of that. This is just my individualized programming system. So a lot like Lindsay said, like there's really no way around it. You're gonna have to plan ahead a little bit. The good news is if you plan ahead a little bit, I actually think you're gonna save time. So I usually log at breakfast. I log for the rest of my day, and a lot like Lindsay, you'll notice some similarities. I pretty much do the same breakfast, the vast majority of the time. So my breakfast is, let me minimize this. My breakfast is pretty reliably 4 eggs, a little bit of turkey bacon, toast, and then sometimes an avocado. This rings me up 45 grams of protein, 50 carbs, and 35 grams of fat. If I do the avocado, I could easily be up to like 60 grams of fat just in breakfast. So that's why I got to actually watch my fat more than anything. So here's the good news. When my breakfast is really pretty much the same, I have the opportunity to practice. Now I've narrowed it down to really, I only need to kind of get 2 meals right. Well, lunch is usually pretty consistent for me as well. Lunch is, usually I just do like chicken and rice and a vegetable, or a salad, or both a salad and a vegetable. But this week I'm actually low on proteins in the fridge because I'm going out of town this weekend, so I didn't overbuy. So the easiest option I have is like a tuna salad sandwich. It's high protein and it's moderate on carb. So protein and carbs are the ones that I got to get a lot of. So that's going to be my option there. I will have a little green salad with it, but I'll just put the greens on it. I won't do any like olive oil or anything. I'll have like a little bit of mayonnaise, to make it tuna salad, but not that much at all. I don't know if I tracked my mayo here, but I can check, but the one I'm using isn't that high in fat. But again, usually I'll do 6 to 8 ounces of chicken, which, is going to be super protein dense. And then that'll be great. Okay. So now I'm realizing this is after my lunch. I've got like 100 grams of protein and 100 grams and more than 100 grams of carbs to go. So automatically I know today is a day where I'm just going to do like a banana, in a protein scoop in my shake. So like, hey, I'm going to work out later today. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of load that and know that I'm going to be doing that. That gets me 25 grams of protein and carbs. And then you saw Lindsay had a pretty extensive kind of snack list. Really, I used my snack sort of list as just a way to balance out to hit the numbers that I need. So if I do this right, I can just sort of eat pretty normally and just kind of log in whatever I want to eat. And then I just kind of play a little math game with my snacks. So I know I'm way low on carbs and a little bit low on protein. So yeah, I got that banana and protein powder. Then I know I'm actually going to have a really small steak for dinner. It's kind of a small, cheap, like a 4.5 ounce steak. Now, 4.5 ounce steak might be massive for you, but for me, that's considered pretty small. So I'm going to log in my entree for dinner. And then I realized that I forgot an oil that I used to cook the eggs in. So my fat was a little bit higher than where I was. So I put the oils in. I put an oil in for dinner because I know I'm going to do a green salad every night. It's a tablespoon of olive oil, which is like 14 grams of fat. That's a very easy thing for me. Like you'll get to know your staples. Okay. So I'm realizing I'm really low on carbs, and I'm looking around my pantry and my kitchen, which are a little bit empty, except I have prepped some rice. This weekend, I made a bunch of rice in a rice maker. So I'm going to get a big boost of carbs from, big boost of carbs from rice, 250 grams. So rice and steak, maybe not your optimal dinner, but I like that. So again, it's highly individualized. So again, remember, this is a full day for most people. This is, Lindsay, off the top of your head, do you know how many calories this is? Like, you could do the math real quick, but this is probably about 2,000 calories. So this is probably more than a lot of people would be eating. But I've got a ways to go. So what do I have left? I got 50 grams of protein, 35 grams of fat, and about 40 grams of carbs. Now, none of these numbers are exact. You don't have to be perfect, but I know that's basically about where I need to go. So if this were you, if at the end of your day, you had to say, do half of this, like you had 25 grams of protein, 15 grams of carbs and 15 grams of fat and 20 grams of carbs, what would you guys be leaning into? How would you kind of make up the difference? I want to throw it to, anybody in here just want to tell me like what their favorite protein things are or fat or carbs?
Bone broth.
Bone broth. Okay, so bone broth is going to be about 8 grams of protein. But that would, okay, I mean, it's individualized. It's individual. My choice, but.
Are the ratio keto?
Yeah. So I actually snuck, I don't know if I mentioned it. I snuck in, oh, maybe that's correct. Yeah. So I literally today, let me stop my screen share. I today had I never know what camera to go to. I've just finished mine. So I actually did put in a ratio yogurt in. So that's a good one. Anyone else? What would someone else?
I do ratio protein one if you're that far short of protein.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Now, the only reason why I'm not doing the ratio protein is I already did a scoop of protein powder. So I wouldn't do those both in one day, just personally. But
A half a cup of cottage cheese,
Okay.
or I lost my train of thought. I must need brain training. There's another one that I go to a
cottage cheese
lot.
would be good because that's both protein and fat.
But get the low fat cottage cheese.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes
When you load up on protein, you almost always get fat. So that's what makes it hard.
Yeah, but a low fat cottage cheese will allow you to get some good low fat cottage cheese has really good protein macros. So yeah, so okay, I'll spoil it. This is where I'm gonna go with the good old banana and peanut butter. And like, so I'll probably snack a little bit on some lunch meat like between now and dinner. And then after dinner, I'm gonna wind the evening down with banana and peanut butter. And if I do that, I'm gonna get within like 3 grams of all of my goals. So it just, kind of reaching the finish line. I'll have dinner, which is a small steak and some rice, and then my wife and I might read or watch a show, and then I'll pull out a banana and some peanut butter. Now, yesterday
I remembered a good one. I remembered my good one.
Yeah.
Shrimp cocktail.
I like it. Yeah, I'd go with that one. Shrimp is going to be super lean, so that'll be a good option too. But I would put myself in a tough situation because I kind of needed one of everything. Well, peanut butter is going to have protein and fat, and then the banana is going to have that carb. So. Okay, so we've got one thing we want to add. Lindsay, could you share the document we made? I'll stop sharing from my screen. So one thing to add to the system to make it easier is for you to just kind of have a little library of things that generally what the macros are, so that you can kind of refer to it. Most are in the process of kind of building your own library based on what you eat frequently. But we've put together just a resource for you to have kind of a quick reference for proteins, fats, and carbs.
I have a question that's related to the macros, but not included in them. A lot of times when I'm doing MyFitnessPal, I'll get a notification from them that this food is very high in sodium. And Lindsay put into the chat jerky as a suggestion for high protein. And I really love jerky, but I haven't eaten it in years because I've been told it's so bad for me.
Right.
So where do you stand on or easing that back into, getting jerky? And do I just ignore MyFitnessPal when it complains about my sodium levels? So
I
I'll
get-
leave it to you two. What do you think?
Yeah, Lindsay, I'll share just something real quick, and then you can give your perspective. The sodium thing, I think that it's sort of just bad science that got us away from sodium, particularly with blood pressure. Yes, people that eat more sodium do have higher blood pressure, but people that eat more sodium are, they eat McDonald's. It's got a lot of sodium. We've regularly been getting people off blood pressure medication, having them crack salt into their bone broth. So there doesn't seem to be a strong relationship between salt and high blood pressure. Now, I do know some people that are responders and they will swell up when they do salt, but that's like one, I've had like 2 clients that I've worked with that do that, and it's very obvious. So unless you're one of those people, you should be fine.
Yeah, and for me, the only time that I get that notification all the time too, and the only time that I actually really look at the sodium is if it's like a processed food. But if it's a whole food, or something like jerky that is more meaty and it is processed, but I'm more focused on making sure that I get my protein in. Now, if it's like a frozen meal though, and it has like 2,000 milligrams of sodium, then that's like, all right, I'm probably not going to eat that because of it. Or I'm going to really watch everything else I eat the rest of the day because of that. So that's when I get concerned about it, is just when it's from highly processed foods or just foods that have to be, saved for like the frozen foods. Let me pull up my screen on this. All right, so you should be able to see in my desktop here, we created a basic foods and macros. I don't really know what to title this. But you just can see here, we have our proteins listed and kind of just the general protein, fat, carbs, and calories of them. This is something that will just be so high. Like, this is already biased because me and Andrew, eat specific foods. So like I, eat some grilled baked chicken breast, and now I kind of know, like, all right, if I eat 6 ounces of that. So everybody has their staple foods. So it'll just take time for you to learn what are your staple foods and how can you begin to eat more intuitively and start to guess, before you plug it in, maybe make a guess on what does 6 ounces of ground beef, how many, calories is that? But we put some basics in here for you. As you can see, your proteins, and then at the end, we do have 2 supplements, collagen peptides and whey powder, protein powder. And then we have our fats right here. And then our carbs. Now, this certainly can be added to, and it's a working document, so we'll continue to add to it as we think of things over time. Or if you have suggestions on what to add, please let us know. We'll send this out to everybody, so you'll have constant updated access to it. It's a Google Sheet, so we'll just send you a link for it, and then you can open it whenever need be. But if you have suggestions on, like we could add in here the ratio yogurt maybe, so that way y'all can see what that is and give you some ideas on how to meet your macros a bit better.
Where is the quantity on the proteins?
So proteins are going to be, so all the meat and fish are about 6 ounces.
I see.
Unless it's like the thick cut bacon, that's 1 slice, 1 sausage link. I think the salmon is just like 1 fillet because I wasn't able to find like the 6 ounces for it.
So it's the shrimp for 6 ounces of shrimp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, shrimp cocktail is a good one for getting your protein. Really,
Yeah.
all the fish.
I was so surprised by that. I don't eat a lot of shrimp, and I was like, dang, I think I need to add more shrimp to my diet.
I love shrimp.
Yeah.
We steam it, so it's really good.
Yeah, and tuna is interesting. Depending on the brand of tuna, you've got it's either like 24 grams, or it can be as much as like 35 grams. So there's variability depending on like what brand you're using. Sometimes, so obviously you still need to kind of be keeping an eye out on things. Nothing there is
I always want to use
there's different
data if it's on the package.
Right.
But it's
right.
good to have this for other things, like if you're eating out.
Right.
How to
Right.
estimate, how many,
Yeah.
that's great.
And one note that I'll make on that is if you're eating out, restaurants make a really good job of selling you carbs and fat. So they're going to give you fries fried in oil. So if you're planning on eating out, you can probably budget in and you'll have a more successful time if you eat kind of higher protein throughout the day and lower your carbs and fats, knowing that when you go to Outback Steakhouse, you're just going to like sneeze and intake a lot of carbs and fat.
Well, I went to Lakeside
Tavern.
Tavern, the one in Concord.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I had the 6-ounce dill salmon,
Nice.
the broccoli and carrots, and their golden Yukon mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's not a bad meal.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
delicious.
And it was. Every bite was really good.
Good. We'll have to go there soon. Okay, so a couple notes to debrief if you're a note taker. Have a minimum of one consistent meal. So make breakfast or lunch the same or really similar. Mine are rarely exactly the same, but they're always like very, very similar. And most people are that way. If you can expand to have your lunch be kind of like a template. So I do like rice and chicken or beans and a little bit of ground beef, or, where that's very simple too. And then use your snacks as a way to kind of make up the difference and, save a little bit of something sweet for the evening and enjoy it and celebrate the fact that you're getting more consistent with your nutrition. The only other tool that I would add that's kind of behind all this is just you're going to be learning what these numbers are. You're going to be learning that, and you'll have this resource now for what are the basic macro ranges of foods. And then meal prep is going to make this so much easier. If you've made and portioned rice or you've bought the $1 bag of steamed rice, you're going to have really obvious macros from that. If you've made, a couple pounds of chicken or ground beef for you and the family, and you've pre-portioned that, it's going to make it super simple as well. If you do those things, guarantee you, and if you're consistent on that, I guarantee you your health is going to improve pretty significantly because your metabolism loves consistency.
The number one thing I see in clients, and I did this too in the beginning, was not tracking ahead of time. If you wait until the end of the day to track everything you ate, then you're going to see, oh shoot, I'm so over on my, carbs, and it's too late to change it now. So I would just recommend you track after, every meal, or if you're taking the advice and, eating a similar meal every day, then just plug that in. And then while you're sitting at breakfast, plug in the next meal that you think you're going to have, and just really try to keep up with it, because you get to the end of the day, you've already eaten everything and then you can't change it. So try and plug in ahead of time.
Perfect. All right. Any final questions? We will try to maybe cut this off a little bit earlier for the sake of the recording, but any questions before we let y'all go?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Why did you choose turkey bacon instead of just full fat bacon?
It was on sale.
Oh, okay.
No,
there's no reason.
Well, it is lower in fat. And like I said, I can very, very easily, if I'm not careful and I just eat what I want, I will blow out my fat.
Okay.
So,
that's the reason. Okay.
It was kind of conscious. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? Sounded like there was someone else. All right, y'all. Remember, just as a reminder, you can always go to the right on your spreadsheet and get a weekly performance report on how your averages are doing. We want you to be within, at very minimum, 10 grams on protein and carbs and within 6 grams on fat. That's because fat is so calorically dense. You'll see a red number if you're outside of that range, and it'll look gray if you're within that range. So that's our goal. And if you can be consistent with those numbers for, for some time and learn this skill, we can guarantee you that, your body composition is going to get better. You're going to feel better, have more energy, build some strength, lose some fat, all those things that we're all here for.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
y'all. Thanks so much. We'll see y'all very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.